Welcome to latest News Blaster. When Gwen Stefani and Blake Shelton first appeared together as a couple, the world didn't just raise its eyebrows, it gasped. Two stars from completely different worlds had collided in the most unexpected way possible. Gwen, the pop-punk goddess from No Doubt who reinvented herself as a solo superstar, and Blake, the rugged country singer with Oklahoma roots, seemed like an unlikely match made in Hollywood. Yet, against all odds, their love story blossomed on the set of The Voice. For years, fans celebrated their romance as a fairy tale born out of heartbreak, resilience, and destiny. But now, whispers of trouble have turned into thunderous rumors. Could it really be the end of a love story that once felt unshakable? The truth about Gwen and Blake's breakup isn't as simple as a headline. Behind the glamorous Instagram photos, red carpet smiles, and carefully curated interviews, lies a story of clashing lifestyles, unspoken insecurities, and the pressures of maintaining a high-profile marriage in the spotlight. Fans who once saw them as a symbol of second chances are now left wondering, what went wrong? From heartbreak to healing. To understand the breakup rumors, you have to go back to the beginning. Both Gwen and Blake found each other at their lowest points. Gwen was reeling from her devastating divorce from Gavin Rossdale, a marriage marred by betrayal and scandal. Meanwhile, Blake was navigating the collapse of his marriage to fellow country star Miranda Lambert, a breakup that dominated tabloids for months. When Gwen and Blake bonded over their shared heartbreak, it wasn't just comforting, it was healing. They leaned on each other, finding solace in their mutual pain. For fans, their connection felt genuine, like a lifeline between two broken souls. Their chemistry on The Voice was undeniable, and what started as quiet whispers of a romance quickly exploded into a headline-grabbing love story. But here's the twist. What begins in heartbreak doesn't always survive the weight of healing. Over time, the wounds that brought them together may have also highlighted the differences that set them apart. The perfect image, and the cracks beneath. For years, Gwen and Blake projected an image of domestic bliss. They were often photographed, hand in hand at award shows, teasing each other on television, or cozying up in social media posts. They built a brand around their romance, a carefully crafted picture of love that resonated with millions of fans. Yet, insiders say that image was sometimes more polished than reality. Gwen thrived in the world of glitz and glam, bringing her California energy to every appearance. Blake, on the other hand, preferred the quiet country life in Oklahoma, where he could hunt, fish, and avoid Hollywood chaos. While opposites attract, those same differences can also create tension when the honeymoon phase fades. One source close to the couple reportedly said, "They love each other, but they live in two completely different worlds." Gwen wants the spotlight, Blake wants the simplicity. That contrast, once endearing, slowly became a source of friction. The battle between Hollywood and Oklahoma. Perhaps the biggest challenge for Gwen and Blake was geography. Not just physical, but emotional. Gwen built her empire in Los Angeles, where her children from her first marriage go to school, and where her career continues to flourish. Blake, however, feels most at home in Oklahoma, where he owns a ranch, and lives a life far away from flashing cameras. For years, Gwen flew back and forth between LA and Oklahoma, juggling her family life with Blake's country lifestyle. But as time went on, the strain became undeniable. Maintaining two lives across two states wasn't just exhausting, it raised questions about where they truly belonged. Fans began to notice fewer joint appearances, fewer Instagram posts together, and more solo projects. Was distance slowly chipping away at their bond? Hidden insecurities and silent struggles? Behind the smiles, Gwen has been open about her insecurities. In interviews and even in her music, she has admitted to feeling anxious about aging, losing love, and not being enough. Blake, known for his laid-back humor, often brushed off tabloid rumors with jokes, but those close to him say he has his own sensitivities, especially when it comes to trust, loyalty, and commitment after his divorce. These insecurities, while human, can become magnified under the pressure of fame. Every rumor, every paparazzi snapshot, every speculative headline adds fuel to the fire. What may have been small disagreements between Gwen and Blake quickly became public narratives of a crumbling marriage. The perfect couple curse. Hollywood loves a perfect couple, but perfection comes at a cost. For Gwen and Blake, being constantly labeled as #couple goals created immense pressure to maintain the fairy tale. Fans expected grand gestures, heartfelt duets, and flawless red carpet moments. Anything less was seen as evidence of trouble. This perfect couple image became a double-edged sword. On one hand, it elevated their careers and kept them in the spotlight. On the other, it left little room for vulnerability or imperfection. When cracks began to show, fans and media outlets pounced, dissecting every gesture, every expression, and every word. Is this really the end? So, is Gwen and Blake's love story truly over, or are the breakup rumors just another cycle of celebrity gossip? Some insiders insist that while they've faced challenges, they are determined to fight for their marriage. Others believe the distance, differences, and constant pressure may have finally reached a breaking point. The truth may lie somewhere in between, two people who deeply love each other but are struggling to align their worlds. For fans, the breakup talk is heartbreaking. Gwen and Blake weren't just a celebrity couple. They represented hope. They proved that love could be found after devastation, that healing was possible, and that opposites really could attract. But now, as rumors swirl, one question remains: is this truly the end of a love story, or just another chapter in their ongoing journey? And, as the whispers grew louder, fans couldn't help but piece together every little clue, from Gwen Stefani's cryptic Instagram captions, to Blake Shelton's quiet disappearances from red carpet events, painting a picture of a couple who might be drifting further apart than anyone expected. And what makes this story even more fascinating is the way it mirrors so many celebrity love tales that start with fireworks but sometimes end in silence. Because while Gwen often leaned into her California glam lifestyle, dropping bold fashion statements and keeping herself immersed in music and beauty ventures, Blake seemed increasingly focused on retreating into the simplicity of Oklahoma, away from the glare of Hollywood lights, creating a silent tug-of-war between two worlds that could never quite merge seamlessly. And though many fans argued that their differences were what made them magnetic, insiders whispered that these same differences were slowly eroding the foundation of their love. Because how long can two people live with one foot in Los Angeles and the other on a country ranch before the cracks show? And sources close to the couple have suggested that Gwen, being a mother of 3 boys, began to feel torn between the expectations of maintaining a blended family with Blake and the responsibilities she already carried for her children with Gavin Rossdale. And that conflict may have weighed heavier than she ever let on in public, while Blake, for his part, has always been candid about preferring a quieter existence, saying he doesn't crave the chaos of Hollywood, yet being married to Gwen meant that chaos was often unavoidable. And while fans adored their playful banter on television and their sweet duets on stage, behind closed doors things may not have been as harmonious, with arguments reportedly sparked over where to spend the majority of their time, how to balance careers with family, and even subtle insecurities that neither could completely shake. Because for Gwen, the fear of aging out of the spotlight and not feeling enough next to younger stars was something she poured into her lyrics, while Blake allegedly struggled with the weight of being seen as Gwen's anchor rather than her equal, a role that can sometimes shift from comforting to stifling. And when you add in the endless media pressure, the tabloid rumors of affairs, and the constant microscope of being America's favorite couple, it becomes clear that their relationship was carrying a burden few people could withstand. And perhaps the most telling sign came when Gwen released new music that seemed to carry undertones of doubt and heartbreak, with fans speculating that certain lyrics hinted at cracks in her marriage, while Blake, ever the private country star, chose silence, which in today's world often speaks louder than words. And as fans debated whether the couple was still united, the reality is that love stories don't always end in explosive fights or dramatic betrayals. Sometimes they end in slow, quiet separations, where the distance grows a little more each day until the bond that once felt unbreakable begins to feel fragile. And the truth about Gwen Stefani and Blake Shelton's rumored breakup may be exactly that, a slow unraveling of a fairy tale. Not because they didn't love each other, but because love alone isn't always enough to keep two worlds aligned. And what's especially heartbreaking is that Gwen and Blake were never just another celebrity couple to their fans. They were symbols of resilience, proof that even after devastating divorces and broken trust, love could find its way back into two scarred hearts. And that symbolism made their bond larger than life. But the same symbolism may have also doomed them, because being put on a pedestal as the perfect couple created an impossible standard to live up to, forcing them to always smile for cameras, even when their private struggles told another story. And in that sense, their love may have been suffocated by the very fame that celebrated it. And if this truly is the end of their story, it's not just a breakup, it's the crumbling of a dream that millions believed in. A reminder that even the most glamorous romances are still built on human fragility. And maybe, just maybe, this chapter will teach fans that fairy tales aren't meant to be flawless. They're meant to be real, with cracks, flaws, and sometimes painful endings. And yet, despite the rumors and speculation, one cannot ignore the small flickers of hope that Gwen and Blake have left behind, like the times they still laughed together on stage, or spoke fondly of each other in interviews, suggesting that while their marriage may be struggling, the love hasn't vanished entirely. And perhaps that is the truest part of this story, that love doesn't always disappear with a breakup. Sometimes it lingers in memories, in songs, in the quiet moments nobody else sees. And whether Gwen Stefani and Blake Shelton decide to part ways officially, or fight to rebuild their marriage, fans will never forget the journey that brought them together. A journey that began in heartbreak and blossomed into one of the most unexpected romances of the decade. And if this truly is the end, then it will go down as one of Hollywood's most bittersweet love stories, a tale of opposites who found solace in each other, only to be undone by the very differences that made them magical. But if it isn't the end, then these rumors will serve as a wake-up call, reminding them to hold on tighter, to prove once again that love can survive even when the world doubts it. And until the truth is revealed, the world will keep watching, keep speculating, and keep hoping that Gwen and Blake can rewrite their story before it fades into just another heartbreak headline. We hope this report touched your heart. Support our work by liking, sharing, and subscribing right now. More dramatic, emotional, and exclusive updates are coming soon. Don't miss them. Stay connected with us and never miss a story that shapes history.